Divorced men. When ex said, "Take me back," how did she react when you said never? Story 1. My ex Lila didn't ask to talk. She demanded a meeting like she was my manager. We sat at the same cafe where she once told me, casually, that my small life was suffocating her. I was still wearing the dent in my confidence from that day. She arrived late, sunglasses on, and slid into the booth like a movie villain. "I'm ready to come home," she said. Not, "I miss you," home. Like I was a storage unit she'd forgotten she rented. I laughed before I could stop myself. It wasn't mean. It was reflex. "You left. You filed. You packed the house like you were winning a prize." Her jaw tightened. I was overwhelmed. I made a mistake. Then she took a breath and played her last card. "You're stable. You're safe. Take me back. I'll do it right this time." That word, safe, hit like an insult dressed as a compliment. I looked at her hands. No ring. No tan line. No sign of the guy she left me for. I remembered the night she screamed, "Don't call me again," and blocked me mid-sentence when I asked how to split the bills. "Never," I said gently. Not now. Not maybe. Never. Her face did something I'd never seen in our entire marriage. It cracked. "So you're just going to throw me away?" I leaned forward. "You threw me away. I'm just not picking myself up and handing myself back." She stood so fast her coffee sloshed. People turned. She hissed, "You'll regret being so cold." And for the first time, I didn't chase her, didn't defend myself, didn't try to prove I had a heart. I just sat there, calm, and watched her walk out like she still expected the door to swing open behind her. It didn't. Story 2. After the divorce, I kept things boring on purpose. Same gym, same grocery store, same small apartment. Peace felt suspicious at first, like it would charge interest later. Then one random Tuesday, my ex Marin showed up at my door with a bakery box like this was a rom-com. She smiled too hard. "I baked," she said. "You used to say baking was for women with no ambition," I reminded her. She blinked, like she'd forgotten her own lines. People change. I didn't invite her in. I stood in the doorway and let the cold hallway air do the talking. She looked past me at my place. Clean, quiet, no chaos. Her eyes snagged on the framed photo by the couch. My niece and me at her graduation. The one Marin skipped because she didn't do family events. Her voice softened. "I've been thinking about us." Translation. Her current situation was failing. "I made a mistake," she said quickly, and her hand trembled around the pastry box. "Take me back. I'll be different." I swear, I waited, because Marin never offered the truth first. It always leaked out after. Finally, she blurted, "He kicked me out." There it was. The real reason, raw and ugly. She stepped forward, eyes wet. "You were my best friend, my person. I shouldn't have..." "You shouldn't have cheated," I finished for her. "You shouldn't have mocked me when I cried. You shouldn't have told me I was too easy to replace." Her face twisted. I was angry. "No," I said. "You were confident." She tried a new angle. "We can start over. Please. Take me back." I felt something surprising. Not rage, not revenge, just clarity. "Never." She stared like I'd slapped her. "Never? After everything?" "After everything," I agreed. "I finally learned what love isn't." Her mouth opened, then shut. She looked down at the bakery box like it could save her. Then she did the thing she always did when she lost. She got cruel. "You're going to die alone," she snapped. I smiled, polite as a receptionist. "At least I'll be at peace." She left the pastries on the floor like a grenade and stormed off. I threw them in the trash without opening the lid. That was my closure, refusing even the sugar. Story 3. My ex-wife Jenna didn't call. She sent her sister first. "Just hear her out," her sister begged on the phone. "She's not doing well." I almost laughed. When I wasn't doing well, Jenna told me to man up and stopped coming home until midnight. But I agreed to meet, because curiosity is a quiet form of self-sabotage. Jenna chose a fancy restaurant. Of course. She sat at the table like she was auditioning for regretful ex-wife. Hair done, makeup perfect, sadness carefully applied. She didn't waste time. "I want to come back," she said, voice trembling. "I miss our life." "Our life," I repeated. "Or the life I provided?" Her eyes flashed. "That's not fair." "Fair?" I leaned back. "Fair was you draining our savings by accident right before you filed. Fair was you telling everyone I was controlling because I asked where the money went." Tears gathered. I was scared. I panicked. I stared at her, waiting for the rest. She finally whispered, "I'm broke." There it was. Again. Not lonely. Not sorry. Broke. She reached across the table like she expected my hand to still be hers. "Please. Take me back. I'll sign whatever you want. Post-nup. Therapy. Anything." The waiter came with water and paused, sensing the tension. Jenna smiled at him like she was fine. The second he left, she squeezed my hand harder. I slid my hand away. Never? Her face went white. You can't be serious. I'm dead serious. She leaned in, voice sharp now. So you get to punish me forever? No, I said, calm. I get to protect myself forever. Her tears flipped into anger so fast I almost admired the efficiency. You think you're so righteous. You weren't perfect. I wasn't perfect, I agreed. But I was faithful. I was present. And I begged you to stop treating me like I was disposable. She stood up, chair scraping loud enough for nearby tables to stare. You're going to regret this when you realize nobody will love you like I did. I looked up at her. That's the point. I don't want love like that. She stormed out without paying. The waiter looked at me with sympathy and asked if we needed separate checks. I smiled. We already got one. Story 4. The first time my ex said, "Take me back," it was by text at 2:13 a.m. I woke up to a string of messages. I miss you. I was stupid. Please, take me back. I stared at the phone like it was a snake. This woman once laughed in my face when I suggested counseling. Now she was typing apologies with thumbs that used to scroll dating apps in our bathroom. I didn't answer. The next day, she went public. She posted a photo of our wedding, cropped so my face was barely in it, and wrote a caption about true love and second chances. Mutual friends started DMing me. Are you getting back together? Then the call came. Why aren't you answering? She snapped, like I owed her my time. Because I'm asleep at 2 a.m. Like an adult, I said. Her voice softened instantly. I'm sorry. I realized I made the biggest mistake. I waited. She sighed dramatically. I'm not asking for much. Just come home to me. Take me back. Never, I said. Silence. Then a sharp inhale. You're saying that to hurt me. I'm saying it to save myself. Her mask slipped. So you found someone else? No, I said. I found myself without you. She laughed, ugly and bitter. Oh, please. You're still the same boring man. And yet, I replied, you're the one begging. That hit her like a slap. She started crying, loud, theatrical. I can't believe you're doing this. After I gave you my best years, you gave me your resentment, I corrected, your criticism, your cheating, your contempt. Her voice rose. I didn't cheat. I didn't argue. I didn't need to. The divorce was finalized because she admitted it in mediation when she thought no one would repeat it. I said, this conversation is over. She tried one last weapon. If you don't take me back, I'll tell everyone you were abusive. My whole body went cold, then strangely calm. Go ahead, I said, and I'll send them the court documents you signed. The line went dead. Later, I saw her delete the second chances post. She replaced it with a quote about toxic men. For the first time, I didn't care what story she sold. Mine was the only one I had to live in. Story 5. My ex-wife, Tessa, showed up at my mother's house on Christmas Eve. Not mine. My mother's. Because she knew I'd show up for my family even if I wouldn't show up for her. I walked in carrying a pie and froze when I saw her in the living room, perched on the couch like she belonged there. She wore the earrings I bought her the year she told me. I settled for you. My mom looked panicked, like she'd been ambushed. Tessa stood up fast. Merry Christmas, she said, voice sweet. I set the pie down carefully. Why are you here? She glanced around at my relatives, then lowered her voice. Can we talk? Alone? I followed her into the kitchen because I refused to make a scene in front of my grandmother. The second the door swung shut, her sweetness vanished. I'm ready to fix this, she said. Take me back. You divorced me, I said flatly. You hired the most aggressive lawyer you could find and tried to take my truck. I was emotional, she snapped. I thought you'd fight harder. That sentence rearranged something in my head. So you burned our marriage down to see if I'd run into the fire? She hesitated. Then, like she couldn't help herself, she added, and you're doing better now. Everyone can see it. You're calmer. You look good. It's like you finally became the man I wanted. There it was. She wasn't missing me. She was missing the version of me she could show off. Tessa, I said. Never. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. Don't embarrass me. You embarrassed yourself by coming here. She stepped closer, voice turning urgent. I can make you happy. I can. Just let me come back, and I'll prove it. I pointed to the doorway where my family's laughter drifted in. I'm already happy. I'm just not going to be happy with you. Her face crumpled. So you're really done with me? Yes, I said. Forever. She stared at me like she couldn't process a world where she didn't get the final say. Then she stormed into the living room and tried to grab her coat with dramatic tears. But my little cousin, 8 years old and brutally honest, looked up at her and said, loudly, Why are you crying? You're the one who left. The room went silent. Every adult froze. Tessa's face turned bright red. She bolted out the door. I picked up the pie again, walked to the table and said, So, Who's ready for dessert? Story 6. My ex, Nadia, didn't come back with love. She came back with paperwork. 2 printed pages and a pen like she was closing a sale. We met in the lobby of my apartment building because I refused to let her upstairs. She held the pages out. I wrote boundaries, she said. Rules. So you'll feel safe. I scanned the first line. You will not bring up the past. Second line. You will not discuss my previous relationships. Third line. You will trust me fully. I laughed. Out loud. The security guard glanced over. You wrote boundaries for me? I asked. Nadia's eyes sharpened. I'm trying. I'm being mature. Mature would have been not moving in with your coworker 2 weeks after you filed, I said. Mature would have been not telling people I couldn't satisfy you emotionally while you were still using my Netflix. Her face flushed. That's not why I'm here. Oh? I stepped back. Then why? She hesitated. Just a half second. And it told me everything. The mask slid, then snapped back on. Because I miss you, she said quickly. Because you're my husband. Was, I corrected. You made sure of that. She reached for my arm. Take me back. We can remarry. We can fix it. I looked at the pen in her hand like it was a weapon. Never. Her mouth dropped open. You didn't even read all of it. I read enough, I said. Your rules are just a way to control the story so you never have to be accountable, she hissed. You're punishing me. No, I said. I'm graduating. The guard cleared his throat, watching her tense up. Nadia shoved the pages into my chest and stormed out, heels striking the floor like gunshots. I tore the pages in half and dropped them in the recycling bin. It felt symbolic. It also felt clean. Story 7. My ex-wife, Brooke, asked for me back the way she asked for everything, like it was her turn. She texted, come over. We need to talk. No, please. No apology. Just a command. I showed up because I wanted the last word in person, not in pixels. When she opened the door, the first thing I noticed wasn't her makeup or her forced smile. It was the empty apartment behind her. No furniture except a mattress on the floor and a sad little lamp. She saw me looking and rushed to talk. I've had a lot of time to think, she said. I know I hurt you. I waited. She swallowed. I was chasing the lifestyle. I thought I deserved more. And did you get it? I asked. Her eyes flickered away. It doesn't matter. It mattered. It always matters. She stepped closer, voice softening. Take me back. I'll be the wife you wanted. I'll cook. Stop, I said. Don't audition. Her face tightened. What does that mean? It means you're offering a performance, not a change. She grabbed my hand. I'm serious. I made a mistake. Please, take me back. I looked down at her fingers. Those hands once slammed my ring on the counter and said, I'd rather be alone than stuck with you. Never, I said. Brooke's eyes widened, then filled. So you're just done? Like I'm nothing? I pulled my hand back. You trained me for this. For months, you taught me what it feels like to be nothing. Now I'm just acting accordingly. Her tears turned to rage. You think you're so strong now? You're not. You're just bitter. I nodded once. Maybe. But I'm free. She screamed something I couldn't even make out as I walked away. I didn't turn around. Not once. Because that's what never actually means. Story 8. My ex, Cassie, ambushed me at my niece's birthday party. She didn't RSVP. She just appeared. Tight dress, glossy hair, smile like she'd never humiliated me in public. My sister's eyes went wide when she saw her. Cassie waved like she was family. Hi! I brought gifts. I set down the juice boxes in my hands and felt my jaw tighten. She'd avoided every family event when we were married. Now she was here, acting like she belonged in the photos. She cornered me by the kitchen island while kids screamed in the living room. Can we talk? She whispered. We're talking, I said, right now. In front of everyone. Because you chose this place. Her smile faltered. Don't do that. Do what? Tell the truth? She inhaled sharply. I've changed. I've been in therapy. I realize I sabotaged us. Take me back. My sister walked by, paused, and listened without pretending not to. Cassie noticed and lowered her voice. Please. I miss being your wife. I miss your family. I miss us. I stared at her. You miss the safety net. Her eyes flashed. That's not fair. What's not fair is you screaming, I can do better at my friend's wedding and flirting with strangers in front of me, I said. What's not fair is you leaving me and then telling people I was emotionally abusive because I asked you to stop spending money we didn't have. Cassie's face went stiff. You're holding a grudge. No, I said, steady. I'm holding a boundary. She reached for my arm anyway. Just say yes. Just give me a chance. I stepped back. Never. The word landed hard enough that my sister's eyebrows lifted. Cassie's mouth opened, then shut. She looked around and realized people had gone quiet. Even the kids. Cassie forced a laugh. Wow. Okay. So you're cruel now. My sister finally spoke. loud enough for the room. He's not cruel. He's just not your husband anymore. Cassie's cheeks burned. She set the gifts down like they were proof of her innocence and walked out without saying goodbye. My niece ran up later and asked, "Why was that lady mad?" I smiled and said, "Because she doesn't get what she wants. And for once, neither did I. I got what I needed." Story 9. My ex-wife, Erin, tried to use nostalgia as a weapon. She invited me to the same hiking trail where I proposed. "Just one walk," she texted. For closure. I almost didn't go, but I wanted to see if she could say sorry without turning it into a business pitch. She showed up wearing the old sweatshirt I used to steal from her. The one I bought her. "Remember this?" she said, laughing lightly. I nodded. "Yeah? I remember you wearing it when you told me you were done playing house." Her smile twitched. We walked in silence until we reached the overlook. The exact spot. The same view. Erin turned to me, eyes glossy. "I was terrified," she whispered. "I thought if I left first it wouldn't hurt as much." "And did it work?" I asked. She shook her head. "No. It's been awful. I miss you. I miss how you loved me." I stayed quiet. She stepped closer. "Take me back. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you." I waited for the hidden clause. Finally, she added, "I can't afford this place alone. And my job, things are unstable. I just need us." There it was. Not romance. Logistics. I turned and looked at the view, not because it was pretty, but because it helped me stay calm. "Never," I said. Erin's face collapsed. "You're really going to throw away everything we had?" "No," I said. "You threw it away. I'm just refusing to dumpster dive." She started crying, then got angry when tears didn't move me. "You promised forever." "I promised forever to someone who didn't exist," I said. "The version of you who wanted me." She flinched like I'd hit her. I walked back down the trail alone. At the parking lot, I saw her sitting on the curb, mascara streaking, looking small. And I felt it. Sympathy. But sympathy isn't a marriage. Story 10. When my ex-wife called, she didn't start with hello. She started with, "I need you." Classic. I put the phone on speaker and kept folding laundry. "What do you need, Dana?" A dramatic sigh. "Can we meet?" "Please. It's important." We met at a diner halfway between our places, like we were exchanging custody. Dana arrived looking exhausted, not glamorous. She sat down and stared at her hands. "I messed up," she said. I waited. She swallowed. "I thought I could do better. I thought you were holding me back. And then I left and I realized you were the only stable thing in my life." I almost said thank you, because it was the closest thing to truth I'd ever gotten from her. Dana leaned forward. "Take me back, please. I'll do anything." I kept my voice neutral. "Anything?" "Yes," she whispered. "Anything." "Then own what you did," I said. "Right here. Say it plainly." Dana's eyes darted around the diner. A couple in the next booth was listening. She lowered her voice. "Not here." I nodded slowly. "So you want me back, but you still won't be honest when it costs you comfort." Her eyes filled. "You're being unfair." I set my napkin down. "Dana, you begged for this divorce like it was oxygen. You told me I was replaceable. You celebrated signing the papers." She winced. "I was trying to be strong." "No," I said. "You were trying to be cruel first." She reached for my hand. "Please. I can't do this alone." I pulled my hand back. "Never." Dana froze, then her voice turned sharp. "So you're just going to let me suffer?" I looked at her steadily. "You didn't care when I suffered. You just expected me to survive so you could come back if you failed." Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I stood up, left cash on the table for my coffee, and walked out while she sat there, finally understanding a lesson she'd spent years teaching me. Some doors don't reopen. Not because you didn't knock, because you slammed them too hard on the way out. Story 11. My ex, Kira, waited until I was trapped. Literally. She caught me at my car in the grocery store parking lot with a cart full of bags and no free hands. "Hey," she said like we were old friends. She leaned on the passenger door, blocking it. "I've been trying to reach you." I set the bags down slowly. "You know where I live. You also know I don't want you there." She smiled, practiced and soft. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here to fix things." I looked at her. New nails, new coat, tired eyes. "Fix what you broke?" Kira flinched, then recovered. "I made mistakes. I was selfish. I thought I needed excitement." I waited, because she always revealed the real motive after the warm-up. She sighed. "He turned out to be not who he said he was." "Shocking," I said. Her jaw tightened. "Don't be like that. I'm trying to be humble." "You're trying to be rescued," I corrected. She stepped closer. "Take me back. I'll do therapy. I'll be transparent. You can have my passwords, my location, everything." That made me laugh. A short sound. "You used to call me controlling for asking if you'd be home for dinner." She reached for my sleeve. "Please." I'm not safe with him. I need a place to stay. There it was. Not love. Shelter. I pulled my arm away. Never. Kira's eyes widened. You can't leave me like this. You left me, I said evenly. And you weren't in danger. You were just bored. Her mouth opened. Then her face twisted into anger. So you're okay with something bad happening to me? I kept my voice calm. I'm okay with you dealing with the consequences of your choices without using me as a life raft. She stared at me like she'd never been denied anything in her life. Then she snapped, You're pathetic. I shrugged. Pathetic men don't get begged. She stormed off between cars, heels clicking. I loaded my groceries, got in, and drove away. Hands shaking, not from guilt, but from the relief of finally choosing myself in the exact place she used to choose herself. Story 12. My ex-wife, Celine, showed up at my office like she owned the building. She didn't call first. She just walked into the lobby and told the receptionist she was family. The receptionist texted me, Your ex is here. She won't leave. Of course. I came out and found Celine sitting with perfect posture, hair immaculate, wearing the same perfume that used to linger in my clothes after she'd scream at me and slam doors. Wow, she said, eyes sliding over my suit. You look good. Why are you here? I asked. She tilted her head like I was being unreasonable. To talk. Like adults. We went outside because I refused to give her a stage in my workplace. The second the door shut behind us, she dropped the act. I'm ready to come back, she said. We can stop this stupid war. You started the war, I said. You filed and told everyone I was a narcissist because I wouldn't fund your finding yourself year. Her face hardened. I needed support. You needed control, I replied. Celine exhaled sharply, then tried a smile. Okay, I'm sorry. Happy now? Take me back. It wasn't an apology. It was a transaction. I stared at her. Never? Her eyes flashed. You're enjoying this? No, I said. I'm preventing a sequel. She took a step closer, voice lowering. You're going to ruin my life. I laughed once. Celine, you ruin your life the moment you don't get what you want. She bristled. I made one mistake. You made a pattern, I corrected. A pattern of disrespect, cheating, and rewriting history when you got caught. Her face changed. Panic, then anger. Who told you I cheated? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. The truth has a smell, and she recognized it. She grabbed my arm. Listen, I don't have time for this. I'm in trouble. I need stability. I need me, I finished, to stabilize your chaos. I removed her hand. Never. She stood there, stunned, then looked back toward my building like she was calculating who to blame next. You'll regret humiliating me, she hissed. I turned to go back inside. The only thing I regret is not saying it sooner. Story 13. My ex, June, didn't beg. She negotiated. She invited me to a coffee shop and arrived with a notebook. A literal notebook. She flipped it open and said, I wrote down what went wrong and how we can fix it. I stared. Is this a business meeting? June smiled like that was charming. We just need structure. Take me back and we can rebuild. I watched her carefully. During our marriage, everything had been a performance review. She graded my emotions like homework. Start, I said. What went wrong? She tapped her pen. You weren't ambitious enough. You got comfortable. I blinked. That's your opening? She corrected herself quickly. I mean, I was ungrateful, but you also could have tried harder. There it was. The apology wrapped around a knife. And your part? I asked. June's smile tightened. I reacted poorly. I said things. I left. You had an affair, I said. She stiffened. It was, I said, calm. You moved in with him. You posted him. You introduced him to your parents. June's eyes darted around the cafe. Okay, fine. Yes. But I realized he's not husband material. I almost laughed. And that makes me... What? The backup plan? She leaned forward, voice urgent. Take me back. I'll make it worth your while. I'll support your goals. You don't know my goals, I said. You never asked. You just told me what they should be. June's face reddened. Stop making me the villain. I'm trying. You're trying to come back because you don't like your new reality, I replied. She slammed her notebook shut. People looked. June lowered her voice, shaking. So what? You're just going to say no forever? I met her eyes. Never. Her expression turned brittle. You'll never find someone like me. I smiled slightly. That's the plan. She sat back, stunned, like she'd reached the end of her script and discovered I wasn't reading my lines anymore. Story 14. I was at my son's school play when I heard her heels behind me. The auditorium was dim. Kids in cardboard costumes. Parents filming with shaky hands. My ex-wife, Tanya, slid into the seat beside me like she belonged there. Hi, she whispered. I didn't look at her. You're not on the contact list. She flinched. I'm still his mother. You're his mother, I agreed. You're not my wife. Tanya sighed like I was exhausting. Can we not do this tonight? That tone, like my boundaries were bad manners, made my stomach twist. The play started. Our son walked on stage, nervous, and I focused on him. But I could feel Tanya watching me instead. Halfway through, she leaned in. I miss us, she whispered. I miss our family. I kept my eyes forward. You broke the family. Tanya's voice trembled. I was lost. I made mistakes. But I'm here now. Take me back. The kid next to us squeaked a line. The audience chuckled. The contrast between innocence on stage and manipulation beside me made me feel sick. I finally looked at her. Never. Her eyes filled instantly. So you want our son to grow up in a broken home? He already did, I said. When you left for space and came back with a new boyfriend, her face hardened. That's not fair. What's not fair, I said quietly, is you using our son's school play as your apology tour. She grabbed my wrist in the dark. Please. I can be better. I gently removed her hand. Be better for him. Not for access to me. After the play, my son ran to me, proud and sweaty. Tanya tried to hug him too, and he let her. But his eyes stayed on me. Later, in the parking lot, she hissed, "You're turning him against me?" I buckled my son into the car seat and said, "No, your choices did. I'm just not lying about it anymore." Story 15. My ex, Mallory, chose the worst possible moment to come crawling back. My engagement party. She didn't get an invite. She got an address. Probably from someone who still lived for drama. I was holding a drink, laughing with my fiancé's parents when I saw Mallory at the doorway. She looked like she'd stepped out of a storm. Hair slightly messy, eyes sharp, smile desperate. People went quiet in that subtle way, like a room sensing blood. Mallory walked straight to me. "We need to talk," she said. My fiancé's hand found mine. "Is everything okay?" she asked softly. Mallory ignored her. Of course she did. She looked only at me like I was still her property. "I made a mistake," she said. "Take me back." I stared at her. "You served me divorce papers on my birthday." Mallory swallowed. "I was angry. You were calculating," I said. She stepped closer, voice rising. "I'm serious. I want my husband back." My fiancé's mother moved slightly, protective. My friends watched, ready. I set my glass down carefully. "Never." Mallory froze, like she couldn't comprehend being denied in public. Then she turned to my fiancé and finally acknowledged her existence. "So this is the replacement," Mallory snapped. My fiancé didn't flinch. She just said, "Calm, I'm the upgrade." A couple people gasped. Mallory's face went red. Mallory turned back to me, voice shaking. "You can't do this. You belong with me." I kept my tone even. "I don't belong to anyone. That was your problem." Mallory's eyes filled with tears, then anger. "You're going to regret this when she leaves you too." I took a breath and said the line that ended it. "The only regret I have is ever letting you convince me that love was supposed to hurt." Mallory looked around, realized the room wasn't on her side, and stumbled out. The music started again, slow at first, then louder. My fiancé squeezed my hand and whispered, "You okay?" I nodded. Because I was, for the first time, never, didn't feel like revenge. It felt like Freedom Story 16. My ex Paige didn't come back with tears. She came back with a smile and a suitcase. I opened my door to find her standing there like she still had a key. She set the suitcase upright and said, "I'm ready." "Ready for what?" I asked. "To come home," she said, like the word home belonged to her more than it ever belonged to me. I didn't move aside. "You don't live here," Paige's smile faltered. "I know. That's why I'm here." She tried to step past me anyway, like muscle memory would override reality. I blocked the doorway with one hand. "Paige," I said. "What happened?" Her eyes flickered, just once. And that told me this wasn't about love. It was about timing. She exhaled sharply, annoyed that I asked. "My lease fell through. My roommate's moving out. It's temporary." Temporary. Like our marriage had been temporary for her too. She softened her voice. "I miss you. I miss our life. Take me back." "Never," I said. Paige's mouth opened in shock. "Excuse me?" "You heard me." Her face tight. "You're seriously going to make me sleep in my car?" I stared at her suitcase. "You're seriously trying to guilt me into being your emergency plan." Paige's eyes narrowed. "I'm your wife." "You were," I said. "Then you cheated and told me it didn't mean anything." "It didn't," she snapped. "You're being dramatic." That old reflex, minimizing my pain, hit like a familiar slap. It was almost comforting, because it reminded me why I'd survived the divorce in the first place. I stepped back and pointed toward the hallway. "You need to go." Paige's voice rose. "So that's it? One mistake and you're done?" "One mistake?" I laughed. "It was months of lies, Paige. Months of making me feel crazy for noticing." Her eyes filled with angry tears. "I hate you." I nodded once. "You hated me when I loved you too." At least now you don't get access to my life while you do it. She grabbed the suitcase, yanked it so hard it tipped, and stormed down the hall. Halfway to the elevator, she turned and spat. You'll regret this. I closed the door and said to nobody. No, I regret not saying it sooner. Story 17. My ex-wife, Elise, tried to bait me with a surprise. She showed up at my Sunday league game with a cooler and a lawn chair, waving at my teammates like she was the supportive spouse again. Guys looked confused. One of them whispered, "Is that your wife?" "Ex," I corrected, and my stomach dropped. After the game, while everyone was packing up, she walked over and handed me a bottle of water like we were back in the old days. "You played well," she said. "I didn't know we were doing this," I replied. She smiled too brightly. "I'm being nice. Is that illegal?" Then she leaned in and whispered, "Can we talk in your car?" I knew I shouldn't. But I also knew she wanted an audience, so I gave her privacy, just enough to keep her from performing. The second we got in, her smile disappeared. "I'm ready to come back," she said. "I've been humbled." "By what?" I asked. She blinked. Life, that non-answer again. I waited her out. Finally, she said, "He wasn't who he said he was. He spent my money." And then he left. There it was. The true confession. Elise's eyes watered. "I was stupid. I thought excitement meant love. And now you want stability," I said. She grabbed my arm. "I want you. Take me back." I pulled away. "Never." Elise froze like I'd spoken a foreign language. "You can't mean that." "I can," I said calmly. "You didn't just leave. You made sure to destroy my reputation on your way out." Her face hardened. "I was protecting myself." "You were rewriting the story so you could sleep at night," I replied. Her voice turned sharp. "So you're just going to let me be ruined?" I stared at her. "You tried to ruin me. I just refused to stay ruined." She slammed the car door so hard my mirror shook. Then, because she couldn't stand losing quietly, she turned back and shouted loud enough for my teammates to hear, "He's bitter. He can't move on." One of my teammates raised his eyebrows at me. I shrugged and called back, calm as can be. I moved on. "That's why it's never." Elise's face went blank. She realized the crowd wasn't buying her story anymore. She walked away with her cooler like it weighed 100 pounds. And for the first time, I felt proud in front of people. Not for winning a game, but for refusing to lose myself again. Story 18. My ex, Shay, came back through my dad. My father called me out of nowhere and said, "Your wife stopped by." "My ex-wife," I corrected. "Whatever," my dad said. "She's crying in my kitchen. Says she made a mistake." I drove over because I couldn't stand the idea of her poisoning my father with her version of events. When I walked in, Shay was perched at the table like a wounded bird, mascara streaked, hands wrapped around a mug. She looked up. "Hi," she whispered. I stayed standing. "Why are you here?" Shay's lips trembled. "I didn't know where else to go." My dad watched us like it was a tennis match. "Just hear her out," he murmured, then left the room. Shay inhaled. "I want to come back. I know I didn't appreciate you." "You didn't just not appreciate me," I said. "You humiliated me. In front of your friends. In front of your mother." She flinched. "I was stressed." "You were cruel," I corrected. Shay's eyes filled. "Take me back. I'll do anything. I'll change." I waited. The real reason always came after the pretty words. Her voice got smaller. "I lost my job." There it was. "And?" I prompted. "And my apartment is... I can't afford it," she admitted. "I'm scared." I felt a flicker of pity. Then I remembered the night I begged her to stop spending and she said, "If you can't provide, you're not a man." I leaned forward slightly. "Never." Shay's face collapsed. "You're really going to do this?" "This?" I said. "This is me finally acting like a man, by your definition. Providing protection. For myself." She started sobbing. My dad reappeared in the doorway, eyes sad. Shay looked at him, then back at me, and tried to weaponize the room. "Your father wouldn't do this to your mother." I nodded slowly. "You're right. He wouldn't. Because my mother never treated him like you treated me." Shay froze. My dad's mouth tightened like he was holding back words. Shay stood up, wiping her face angrily. "Fine. Enjoy being alone." I watched her walk out and felt the weirdest thing. Relief. Even with my dad's disappointment hanging in the air. Because I'd chosen truth over guilt. And guilt had been her favorite leash. Story 19. My ex-wife Vera tried to buy her way back into my life. She texted me, "I have something for you. Please meet me." I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. We met at a park and she showed up carrying a small box. "I kept this," she said softly, handing it to me. Inside was my grandfather's watch, the one I thought I'd lost during the divorce chaos. The one she swore she'd never seen. My stomach went cold. "You had this." Vera's eyes were glossy. "I didn't take it to hurt you. I didn't want to let go." "You stole it," I said. I was angry. she whispered. I wanted you to feel what I felt. I stared at her, disgust and heartbreak mixing. And now you're giving it back because you want something. She flinched. I want us. I want my husband back. Take me back. I held the watch in my palm and felt the weight of it. Not the metal, the years, the memory, the way she'd used it like a hostage. Never, I said. Vera's face twisted. So you get your watch and I get nothing? I laughed, sharp. You think this is a trade? She stepped forward, desperation cracking her voice. I made a mistake. I didn't know what I was doing. Please, I'll make it up to you. How? I asked. By returning the next thing you steal? Her eyes flashed. You're being cruel. No, I said, tucking the watch into my pocket. Cruel was taking something that belonged to my grandfather and using it to manipulate me. Vera's tears fell fast. I was scared you'd leave me forever. You left me, I reminded her. You just wanted me to stay available in case you changed your mind. She wiped her cheeks angrily. You think you're better than me now. I'm not better, I said. I'm just done. Vera stared, then did what she always did when she lost. She tried to rewrite the narrative. You're heartless, she spat. You never loved me. I looked at her with a calm I'd earned the hard way. I loved you enough to forgive what you didn't deserve. I don't love you enough to do it again. She walked away shaking, and I finally checked the time on the watch. It was still ticking, unlike her second chances. Story 20. My ex, Raina, asked for me back in a voice note, because she knew hearing her cry used to melt me. The message came through at midnight. Sniffles, shaky breaths, then her voice. I can't sleep. I keep thinking about you. I'm sorry. Please, take me back. A year ago, I would have driven to her place with my heart in my throat. This time, I listened twice. Not because I missed her, because I wanted to hear if the apology was real. The next morning, I replied with one sentence. What do you want, Raina? She called immediately. I want you, she insisted. I want my marriage. I met her in a public place. My rule now. She arrived looking fragile, like she'd spent weeks rehearsing broken. I've changed, she said. I know I hurt you. I nodded. Say how? Raina blinked. What? Say how you hurt me, I repeated. Without blaming me, her lips parted, then closed. She looked down at her hands. I was overwhelmed. You were distant. There it was. The blame sneaking in. I leaned back. Try again. Raina's eyes flashed. Why are you interrogating me? Because take me back isn't a magic spell, I said. It's a request. And requests require accountability. She swallowed hard. Fine. I cheated. I lied. I made you feel crazy. I told people you were the problem. My chest tightened, but I stayed calm. And why do you want me back now? Raina hesitated too long. Finally, she whispered, because I'm alone. Not because she loved me. Because loneliness finally got louder than her pride. I nodded slowly. Never. Raina's face crumpled. You can't just erase us. I'm not erasing us, I said. You did. I'm just refusing to redraw it. She reached across the table like she could physically pull me back into the past. Please. I'll do anything. I stood up. Then do the one thing you never did. Respect my no. Raina stared as I walked away, like she couldn't understand a world where her tears didn't control the outcome. But that was the whole point. Story 21. My ex, Monica, tried to come back through my dog. I was leaving the vet with my mutt, Rocket, when I saw her leaning against her car in the parking lot like she'd been waiting. She waved with the hand that used to wear my ring. Hey, she said softly. I heard Rocket was sick. I froze. How would you hear that? Monica's eyes flicked away. I talked to your sister, of course. She couldn't just respect distance. She had to tunnel under it. Rocket whined, tugging the leash toward her like dogs are dumb in the sweetest way. Monica crouched and scratched behind his ears. Hi, baby, she whispered, voice breaking on purpose. I tightened my grip. Don't. She looked up at me, eyes shiny. I miss him. I miss you. I miss our little family. I let the silence hang until it turned uncomfortable. What do you want? Monica stood, still smiling like she hadn't cheated on me with a just a friend she swore I was paranoid about. I want another chance. Take me back. Never, I said. Her face twitched. You don't have to be so harsh. You showed up at my vet, I said flatly. You don't get to call me harsh. Monica's mouth trembled. I've changed. I've been alone and I realized you were the best thing that ever happened to me. There it was. The loneliness confession, not the love confession. I nodded slowly. You realized that after you tried to replace me. Monica's eyes flashed. I didn't try to replace you. I was confused. You weren't confused when you posted him at the beach while I was signing divorce papers, I said. Rocket whined again. Monica reached for the leash like she could take the past by force. Please, she begged. I can help with Rocket. I can be there. I stepped back. You don't get to use my dog as your audition. She started crying, loud enough that a woman across the parking lot glanced over. Monica's voice rose. So you're just going to punish me forever? I kept my tone calm. This isn't punishment. It's consequences. Monica wiped her face angrily. You're cold. I looked at Rocket, then back at her. No. I'm finally loyal to something that's actually loyal to me. She stood there, stunned, then stormed toward her car. As she slammed the door, Rocket barked once, sharp, protective. For the first time, it felt like even my dog understood what never meant. Story 22. My ex-wife, Diane, waited until I was at my weakest. My mom had just been discharged from the hospital. I was carrying her bag out to the car when Diane appeared at the curb with that same concerned face she used to wear when she needed something. Oh my God, she whispered. Is she okay? I didn't answer. I just kept walking. Diane followed. I heard, she said. I wanted to be here for you. I stopped and turned. Why? She blinked like the question offended her. Because I still care. That almost made me laugh. She didn't care when she left me for a man who understands her. She didn't care when she told friends I was emotionally unavailable, while I worked 2 jobs to pay off her credit cards. My mom climbed into the passenger seat and closed the door quietly, leaving us in the driveway like a staged confrontation. Diane stepped closer. I've been thinking about us, she said. About how good we were before everything got complicated. You made it complicated, I said. Tears pooled fast. Diane always had quick tears. I made mistakes. I know, but I'm here now. Take me back. Never, I replied, without raising my voice. Her face went white. Don't say that. Not now. Now is exactly when I say it, I said. Because you picked this moment on purpose. Diane's voice sharpened. I didn't pick anything. I saw you struggling and I wanted to help. Help. The word tasted fake. I looked past her and saw a car parked across the street. Someone inside. A silhouette. Watching. Who's in the car? I asked. Diane froze. No one. I walked a few steps closer and Diane grabbed my arm, panic spilling. Don't. That told me everything. A boyfriend. A friend? A witness. Someone she needed to prove she tried. I pulled my arm away. So this isn't about me. It's about you needing a story. Diane's tears turned to anger. You're paranoid. I nodded toward the car, then waved to nobody. She didn't. I leaned in and said quietly, Never. Diane's lip curled. You think you're so strong. I'm not strong, I said. I'm just done being convenient. I got into the driver's seat and closed the door. Diane stood in the driveway, crying toward the street like an actress who missed her cue. My mom looked at me and whispered, good. And that one word did more for me than Diane's whole performance. Story 23. My ex, Autumn, tried to come back with a pregnancy scare. She called crying, saying her hands were shaking. We need to talk, she whispered. I met her at a coffee shop because I wasn't stupid enough to let her into my apartment. She arrived pale and dramatic, clutching her purse like a life raft. I'm late, she said, barely audible. I stared at her. Late for what? Autumn's eyes widened like I was slow. My period. My stomach dropped, then steadied. We haven't been together in over a year. She swallowed. I know. But we had that night, after the divorce. When you were lonely. I remembered it instantly, and the shame hit like a punch. One night of weakness. One morning of regret. She'd texted bad idea and disappeared again. Autumn leaned forward, voice trembling. If I'm pregnant, we should be a family. Take me back. I sat back. So you're not even sure. She blinked fast. I'll test soon. But no, I said. You don't get to build a marriage on a maybe. Autumn's tears fell. You're abandoning me. I kept my voice even. I will support a child if there is a child. That's non-negotiable. But taking you back? Never. Her face twisted. You can't separate it like that. I can, I said, because you tried to separate me from my dignity for years. Autumn slammed her palm on the table. Heads turned. I made mistakes. You made choices, I corrected. Cheating wasn't a mistake. Humiliating me wasn't a mistake. Filing for divorce because you wanted better options wasn't a mistake. She sobbed harder, then tried the sweetest voice. I just want us. I leaned in slightly. Then do this honestly. Take a test. Show me proof. And if there's a child, we'll handle it responsibly. But you and me? Never. Autumn stared like she couldn't believe I didn't fold. Then her tears dried instantly, like a switch. You're disgusting, she snapped. You don't deserve a family. I nodded once. You're right. I don't deserve that kind of family. 2 weeks later, she texted, false alarm. No apology. Just that. Like my nervous system was a toy she could shake and put back on the shelf. That's when I blocked her everywhere. Not because I was angry. Because I finally understood what she was willing to weaponize to get yes.